free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's kush. Love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it, I just do it. Like Nike swoosh, none of that Reggie Bush. Cause I'm top shelf, I ain't got wealth, but I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere, you wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks. Can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep this shit popping like lip gloss.
All right. I believe Pride will be. Oh, there's Pride right here. I know Rob's coming back. Let me bring Pride into the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Unscripted with my boy Logan Landers. How you doing, Logan?
What's going on, Jay? Happy Thursday to all the viewers out there. Today, we have a very Boston-centric show here tonight, talking about the NBA Finals. Game 1 kicks off tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a fun time. I'm ready to get it going, Jay.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Boston himself. Pride. What's up, brother?
People try to tell me that I was quiet as a Celtics fan. I'm like, bro, have you not been paying attention to my timeline? I've been the most immature Boston Celtics fan.
Man, like, Celtics in 2.
Like, come on, bro. Dude, I said that with a straight face. I had a camera on my face. I said it with a straight face. Imagine. I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me, Jay. Always a pleasure.
Yes, Mike. Sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mike, what's going on, brother? You're haunting Jay. Good to know.
Hey, Michael's up in here. What's up, my brother, man? We missed you on the morning show. And then, hey, appreciate you sharing it too, man. Much love. And then we got the other side of the debate, Golden State himself, Rob Scott, 2 cents, $1.25, however you know him. Big shot, Rob. What's up, baby?
What's good, my guys?
Oh, you got the good mic tonight.
Is glad to see Pride outside. What's up, Pride?
Oh, it's better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, Robert.
Yes, sir. All right,
Jay Logan, thank y'all for having us on, man.
Works, man. Anytime.
Oh, absolutely. Logan, before I get into this, are we a go on the guest?
I've not heard anything from her yet, but hopefully she will hop on in just a little bit. We'll give.
All right, we will bring her in. When she pops up, we will definitely bring her in. And in the meantime, hey, listen. First of all, just so you know, she's from the Boston Ballin'. Her name is Gabby. Oh, Jesus, Lord. I lost her last name. How do you say her last name? Is it Hurlbut? Is that how you say
Hurlbut.
it?
Yep.
I didn't want to say it wrong. I was kind of scared to say her last name. But, yeah, Gabby Hurlbut from the Boston Ballin' podcast. We'll be on here to talk all things Boston and things of that nature. But until we get her in here, it's time. It's time for the.
I'm gonna just sit back. I ain't gonna say a word.
The NBA Finals.
Hold on. Let me
everything unscripted. We got Pride representing Boston. We got Rob representing Golden State. And I got to be honest with you. I really kind of wanted to make this even more interesting and make a role reversal out of it, where Pride represented Golden and Rob represented Celtics, and just to kind of see what you would say about the other team and how you would present it in a debate style format. But you know what? I'm not going to
do Pride is petty. There's no way he can
I know. I'm not going to get that
representing Golden State.
I would have been so petty. I would have been doing backhanded compliments the whole time. That's why I said, oof, when you had the idea. I was like, look, man, I ain't trying to be that dude, but I'm immature as ever. So, I don't know. That's a good idea. So I'll be like, Steph, he's all right.
Hey, and that's where I scrapped it. When Pride put in the comment section, I knew it was a no-go, and so I wasn't going to go any further. So, with that being said, you will represent your respective teams, and I felt so left out that I had to go find my Rockets, even though I had no skin in the game, and I put my jersey on just so I felt something, but it is what it is. Okay, folks, we're about to get this bad boy started. My first question is going to be, and it's the same thing for both you guys, so you can either rebut it or you can just wait till it's your turn to talk. I think we'll probably just go that direction. What is the weakness of your team, and how do you think that team will overcome it? Pride, what do you think the Celtics' weakness is, and how do you think they overcome that?
Lost pride.
The anticipation is killing me, Pride.
I was about to say, man. I guess we'll. All right,
We're switching it then.
It's beautiful, because I just got my cup of lick up. It's an easy win like Golden State about to experience.
Oh, Lord. Here we go, baby. First shot's fired. Listen, okay, Rob. What's your team's
weakness? Possible.
Hey, what's your team's weakness, and how do you plan to overcome it?
Our weakness is height. And unfortunately, unless Kevon Looney's going to become a 7-footer overnight, or Draymond gains a couple inches in height, it's nothing we can really do in that matter. But how we overcome it is we play by committee. That's what we do. That's what Golden State has done all season. That's their logo, strength in numbers. That's their motto. That's their mantra. As long as Golden State continue to play by committee, Kevon Looney get those important offensive rebounds, Wiggins get those important offensive rebounds, continue to get the Golden State Warriors second chance points, I just don't see what Boston could do. And just like Boston is going to do in 5, we seem to have lost pride.
Because here's my take on it, right? I think your weakness could be the slow start of your team. If you guys come out doing one or two things, I think it's going to be a weakness. We kind of saw it in Dallas, but you were able to kind of overlook Dallas because of the amount of role players. Actually, Dallas is kind of going through the same issue, and I kind of think that's why you were able to withstand it. But he had a slow start from Clay in the first half of pretty much every game, and then he kind of came on in the second half. And I think the other thing was just, the team as itself kind of got off kind of sluggish, but then, picked up the pace and then got into the game, especially at the three-point line. You saw Golden State at times kind of disappear and then come back. So how do you think that that's going to be an issue going against the Celtics? And do you think that if it does come off slow, do you think the Celtics take advantage of that?
In a perfect world, you would say yes. I have no problem with the Celtics. I think they're a great young team. They're a nice ran organization that has a great head coach. But what I think about the Celtics is they have moments in their offensive sets where they can go stagnant in a lot of plays, and I just don't think you can make that mistake against the Golden State Warriors. You go through a 5-minute stretch where you don't score, a 5-point lead can turn to 20 real quick. And we know once they start to hit those threes and see those threes drain, they seem to not only energize the crowd, but they energize everybody else on the team. And Golden State plays defense through offense. If they can deter you on the offensive end of the ball, in which you just say there's nothing I can do with these guys, then I seen their defense seems to follow. And Boston, being a young team, even though they've been to the Eastern Conference Final 4 times, they have yet to go to the big dance. This is a whole new experience for them.
So, Brian, what is the weakness of the Celtics, and how are the Celtics going to overcome it?
Well, Rob hit it right on the head with the first problem is the fact that we go too stagnant. That is not going to work against a team like Golden State. Rob, you did say something about Golden State's defense. They're the second best, defensive team in the NBA. Do you want to know who's first? So do me a favor, go stub your toe. We vibing, we chilling. We living our best life. We ain't worried about these suckers. Look, so that's one. Now, the second problem I have, honestly, because I believe this, us kind of being stagnant, I do think that's a problem. But my concern, my bigger problem is the turnovers. There's no way we're going to have 20 turnovers in a game and then look in the mirror talking about, damn, bro, we should have won it. Ain't no way we're going to be, there's no way we can do that. I do think a lot of the turnovers, if you really watch it, a lot of the turnovers is, I don't want to say they're dumb, but they're dumb. I feel like I'm allowed to criticize my own team. So I don't want to say they're dumb, but they're dumb. Let's just call it what it is, bro. There are times where my glorious team is the smartest team in basketball, and all of a sudden I go pee, come back, and I got 5 Patrick Beverleys out there who don't know what to do with the ball. It's wild to me that happens. Do I think it's fixable? 110%. I really do. I think it really comes down to when you enter these finals, I think Boston needs to go in with the mindset of, look, defensively, we're good. We're going to be able to, I'm not going to say they're going to shut down Golden State, but they're going to make sure Golden State earns every bucket they get. Now, I'm not saying they're going to lock down Steph and Steph going to be 1 for 10 and Clay going to be 0 for and Jordan Poole going to look like a G. I ain't saying all that now. But what I am going to say, they're going to make Golden State earn every bucket. So defensively, they're fine. I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but game 1, you're going to see a different style of basketball from both teams. It's going to get to a point where people are going to try to imply that Ime is not a good head coach and Steve Kerr lost it. What I think is going to happen game 1, these two are going to be doing unique things, feeling each other out. They're going to be running sets for guys who don't even know how to spell the word set, just to see how the other team kind of handles it. I always say this, game one, you can lose. You can throw game 1 away as long as you learn something and make the adjustments game 2. So whoever wins, whether it's Boston or Golden State, game 1, it's really not going to matter because game 2 is going to be the more telling game because whoever took the L, are they going to be able to bounce back and make the proper adjustments to basically come out with a victory in game 2? Because if not, then it's going to be an interesting series for whoever's going to be down. But my 2 things, the stagnant offense, which I would fix that by running some sets. And they do run sets. They do. It's just when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown has the ball, the sets kind of go away, which I get it because they're both ISO players. But they do run some sets. I would like some actual plays ran for those 2. So that way you're not going to eliminate the little cold spells, but at least you're minimizing it. So instead of 5 minutes, it's 2.5 minutes. And those 2.5 minutes, that's a big difference. There's a big difference from going cold in 2.5 minutes and only giving up 7 points than 5 minutes and all of a sudden you look up and you're down by 15. There's a massive difference between that, especially with a team like Golden State. You've seen it. Golden State they'll be like down by 15. Steph hits 1-3, and all of a sudden, the arena's all amped up, the players are all amped up. You go and use the bathroom, you come back. All of a sudden, in the span of 3, and this is not an exaggeration, we've seen it. In the span of 3 minutes, Golden State goes from down 15 to up 20. So it's going to be very interesting, but Celtics are 7. We vibing.
No lead is safe, my boy.
So here's the deal. If Peyton plays in game 1, because right now Peyton, Porter, and Iggy are all questionable, so they all could potentially play. How important is it going to be, Rob, for specifically really Peyton to play as he's one of your premier lockdown defenders against this type of team? And how do you think they're going to fare if they don't have Peyton?
As I've mentioned before, strength in numbers. Golden State Warriors is one of the better teams in the NBA who really lives by that philosophy of next man up. We've seen the development of Kuminga. We've seen the development of Moody. These are rookies here. We've seen the development of the G League players, whether it be Juan Toscano-Anderson, whether it be Jordan Poole. We see the development of Wiggins, who most people called a bust. What you cannot say about the Golden State Warriors is that they don't empower that they don't empower their players and that they don't develop their players. Golden State Warriors executives, front office, coaching staff, they empower these players. This is the reason why somebody like Jordan Poole, who was just playing in the G League, now pretty much has the same green light that Steph Curry has. They empower their players, and that's going to be a problem for the Boston Celtics to me because Boston is not that deep. We're talking about fatigue is going to start to set.
Oh, you smoking?
No, smoking. I'm not smoking because they haven't been playing deep in these playoffs. They've been playing a 7-man roster. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Have we seen Pritchard playing? Have we seen Pritchard playing? I've seen
the best number 11
after the starting 5 play, you gonna see maybe Grant Williams and I can't even think of who else is on there because that's all I've been seeing is play.
Now, hey, folks, it has been said, and I'm not going to put Sander on that because Sander didn't say it, but I'm just trying to stoke a little bit of a fire with Sander. But Hey, it's been said, Pride, that Boston possibly maybe didn't really deserve to be there because Miami, due to a technicality of his foot 6 inches one way, had he been 6 inches the other, we're not really seeing Boston in the playoffs. And if Jimmy Butler goes for the layup, vice the three, I mean, who knows where this game goes? I mean, do you really think you deserve to be there over Miami? I get it, you got the win, but
exactly. No, that's it. You lost. We got the win. Okay. If I was a shooter, I'd be in the NBA. What
hey, what he say? If was a fifth,
hit him. We all be drunk.
If was a fifth, we all be drunk, baby.
No, I don't want to hear no foolishness like that. Because guess what? If Giannis, if KD's shoe was half a size, maybe he's in the finals and maybe he wins. They didn't. Guess who was in there? Giannis. We don't.
Let me ask you this, Rob. Hey, given the battle that occurred between Miami and Boston, and obviously how close it came down to the last possession, do you think that Boston deserves to play Golden State? Do you think they're worthy of you?
Of course, they won. I look at what happens. I don't look at shoulda, woulda, couldas. I don't look at what else. Boston won, and Boston had a hell of a road to get to the finals. They did not only just beat down the Brooklyn Nets, they swept them. We're talking about one of the most prolific scorers ever in the NBA.
And Rob, they're the only team to get swept this playoffs.
The only team to get swept this playoffs.
The Brooklyn Nets really was they were kind of fragmented as a team. They were never really a full. I don't put
let me say this, Jay. It's easy to say that now. That we've seen what happened.
You didn't think? No. I've been saying that before even Harden went to Philadelphia. Remember, I said that when they brought in Harden to Brooklyn, that they were fragmented because they didn't believe they needed a head coach.
You would be one of the few minority that was saying that. When I talk about NBA experts, when I talk about analysts, anybody that you talk to about the NBA game, about the NBA playoffs. Not only did they think Brooklyn was going to beat Boston, Brooklyn was one of the favorites to win this whole thing.
Thank you, bro. They were, even when they were down 3-0, they were favored to win Game 4.
They said no Harden, no
problem. I don't buy into all that favoritism stuff, though.
Okay. And you know what else you don't buy into? Wins, because your team had the worst record in the NBA. So stay in your corner. Look, I don't care what nobody says. We deserve to be here. We swept Brooklyn. I don't give a flying fadoodle stick when anybody says. Kyrie and KD both played, and there was one game in the second half, I think it was game 2. KD didn't score a single bucket because of the defense that Boston played. Don't hit me with that foolishness. And again, I don't care what anybody says. People are here chatting about, oh my God, well, the Bucks were without Chris Middleton, and we were without half our Boston. And what happened? We took the dub. I don't care. I don't care what nobody says. We've been as injured as anybody else in these playoffs. And what do? We've been winning. I don't want to hear no fools talking about, oh, bro, his heel, it hit the line, it was 6 inches. Well, guess what? 6 inches is what brought me in this world. You cut it in half, and that's what I got. And at the end of the day, it still happened. I don't want to hear no foolishness, bro. He stepped on the line, he was out of bounds. If you don't want to be out of bounds, have him move up 6 inches. Why I gotta be mad? Why y'all trying to take that from us? Meanwhile,
because Rob wasn't doing anything to make a heated debate, and I had to say something to get the fire started.
All I'm saying is, look, I understand it was only 6 inches. I get it. I understand that. But at the end of the day, he's out. There's no other way you look at it. I don't care if it's 6 inch. I don't care if it's a pride inch. I don't care. Guess what? You're still out. You still out. Listen, I tell people all the time. Go ahead, Rob. I was about to say, an inch makes a difference. My inch got 2 kids in this world.
It does make a difference.
I don't want to hear no foolishness about that. I'm telling y'all. I don't want to hear no foolishness.
But you know what, though? Haters gonna hate, man, because if you look at the other side of that spectrum, they say the same thing about Golden State. Oh, you played the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. wasn't there. Oh, you played the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant went out after game 3.
Thank you.
Oh, you didn't play nobody. Oh, Dallas wasn't supposed. You lucky you didn't get to play Phoenix. Dallas beat them. It doesn't matter.
The same. And listen, and me personally, and this is what I've always said. I'm not gonna kill a team and punish them because of what the other team got going on. I'm not gonna kill Golden State. Yeah, they had an easy path. But is it because Golden State out here hiring hitmen to take care of business? No. Them's the breaks for those teams. And I don't care what anybody says. Golden State, I don't care what anybody says, Golden State was better. And this is a dude who said I had Memphis in 7. Golden State was the better team in every single series, point blank. So I'm not going to strip that from them. They made the – I'm not going to strip that. Yeah, they didn't play – they played the Mavs, and obviously the Mavs wasn't up to – they shouldn't have been there. But you know who you got to blame for that? Phoenix. Go blame Phoenix.
Go
blame Phoenix. That's who you need to blame.
Not to mention, I was one of the only people screaming that Phoenix was going to win. I mean, that Dallas was going to win.
I even going to hold you, Rob. And I'm going to continue giving you your props. Congratulations, sir. Because you said that back when, and I'll be honest, Rob, I was questioning my relationship with you. I really was. I was like, I can't talk to Rob no more. Because mind you, this is after you jumped on Golden State after claiming to be a Chicago Bulls fan. You hopped on Golden State. And then you said
so here's the deal though, Pride. I got a question, Pride. So right now Golden State is sitting as the favorites at minus 160, and you guys are sitting at 140. So what do you I mean, is it realistic? I mean, do you think it's really a fair fight, or do you think that Golden State, because of the experience and the depth and the coaching, that they may have something over you?
Well, here's the thing. First and foremost, when it comes to a playoff series, let's just get out the way. There's never a fair fight. It's never a fair fight. Never. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And I don't mean that to diminish anything, but for example, Dallas Mavericks made the Western Conference Final and they played against Golden State. Who was the better team?
Golden State, clearly.
And it wasn't even close. They still had to play him, right?
Not at all.
And game 1, before anybody stepped on the floor, you know what I mean? So for me, I understand why Golden State is the favorite, because not only do they have the experience, they have the championship pedigree. You got Steve Kerr, who not only is a great head coach, but at the same time he somehow handles all these guys. But listen, I said this right now. If you make Steph Curry come off the bench, you should deserve Coach of the Year. I don't care what no one says, bro. Like, Monty, congratulations to you, bro. But Steve Kerr got a superstar to come off the bench and be happy about it.
Willingly,
so,
too.
Hey,
hold on. Hold
on, fellas.
Not only be happy about it, but Lord Jesus, did he not kill?
My guy. I've never seen Steph so happy before. Ever. Never.
You got a point.
My guy was happy.
We got to do an introduction. And I hope I say her name correctly, because God knows I think I was nervous to say her last name. But we got from Boston Balling Podcast, Gabby Hurlbut, and we're going to bring her in the show now, fellas. Give her a warm, unscripted welcome. Pride, be nice.
Be in your best behavior, Pride. Jesus.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
What's up, Gab?
How's it going? And props to you. You did say my name correctly. So good job.
Hey,
that's how we do it, Jay.
I was stressing on that one. I was like, man, is it Hurlbut with 1 T, 2 T? I just spelled
it wrong. So.
Hey, listen, Gabby, I got a question for you, Gabby. I got a question. So we're talking, obviously you're Boston, and obviously this is Boston versus Golden State, game 1 tonight, San Francisco. Rob's over here gloating because he feels like he's got in the bag that maybe Boston truly really doesn't deserve to be there with their miserable experience, barely eking out the win against Miami. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's interesting about the feeling like they have it in the bag, because Heat fans thought the same thing. So that's an interesting concept. I mean, the Celtics have been counted out many, many times in this playoffs. People didn't even think they were going to beat Milwaukee, and they beat Milwaukee. I mean, granted, they didn't have Chris Middleton.
One more time. Say that one more time for me.
But that people thought they weren't going to beat Milwaukee, because that is actually true.
And look where we at. What a time to be alive.
It's true, man. I got to admit, I had Milwaukee and the Suns in the finals. So.
Everybody had Milwaukee winning that series. Like, a lot of people had Milwaukee coming out of the East again this year.
Yeah, that's true.
I know I did. I won't lie to you.
Okay, so in reality, though, here's my real thoughts on this series. So obviously, I'm a huge Celtics fan, super nervous, super excited. I think it's going to be a really fun series. I think this is kind of, a series that a lot of people desire to have. Celtics Warriors, it seems kind of like a pretty legendary series, just saying that. I think these are two obviously very, very, very good teams. I think Golden State's experience is something that worries me a little bit because the Celtics team is young and these players don't know what this feeling is like of being in the finals. The Warriors do have that experience. They've done this multiple times. This is not their first rodeo. A lot of these guys, you know, they've been here. Steve Kerr's been here multiple times. Ime Udoka is a first-year head coach, doesn't really have that experience either being in the finals. So from that standpoint, it's, you know, I'm looking at it as, yes, from an experience standpoint, Golden State definitely does have that advantage. One thing the Celtics do have going for them is their defense, though. Their defense is phenomenal, and they've been able to shut down players like Giannis, like Jimmy Butler for some of that series, not the whole thing. And KD is another example as well. Players like that who you thought were going to be able to destroy the Celtics, they've been able to figure out ways to contain players like that on defense. So I think their defense is something that is a strong suit for them, that going into this series, that if they can, as long as they can figure out how to contain that 3-point shooting from Golden State, from what I'm looking at as obviously one of their biggest strengths, when Golden State very much has the opportunity to just go on these runs that are just unstoppable of everybody just making threes. That's what we need to look out for here from a Celtics standpoint, I think, is being able to stop those runs on defense, which I think they can do, but also the consistency in the turnovers is one of the biggest concerns for me as well. We saw a lot of turnovers happen when the Celtics lost game 6 at home against Miami. And that was one of the biggest issues for them. We've seen these turnovers multiple times in this playoffs. Jaylen Brown not being able to control the basketball. That's something that's going to be huge because a team like Golden State, that's not going to fly with them. Like, you can't be making those types of mistakes when you're playing teams like that. So I'm looking at this as, yes, can the Celtics match up well with Golden State? Absolutely they can, and they have done it the last few years. They've given the Warriors trouble, and so I think they can do that again. However, I think it's really going to come down to, can they contain that 3-point shot on defense, and can they be consistent? And I'm looking at somebody like Jason Tatum, who, you know, is supposed to be a superstar in this league. We love him. He's our guy. He needs to be more consistent alone, because he'll have these nights where he has a bad shooting night, and then nobody else can figure out how to make up for that. And that's another issue as well. So it's not just a Tatum issue, but it's, if Tatum is having an off night, who else is going to be able to step up and contribute in his place? But him alone, if he really wants that title of being considered a superstar in this league, he needs to be more consistent, because we've seen him just be, he's had some rough games this postseason. So that's another issue I'm looking at. You know, Golden State is tough. They're going to play tough. They're undefeated at home in the postseason. So that's another factor to be considered in this too. Overall, I do think that this is a more competitive series than people think it's going to be. I think it goes at least 6, if not 7 games. And I do overall think the Warriors win the series. However, I significantly obviously hope that I'm wrong on that, but I do think the Celtics give them a run for their money. And I think regardless of whether the Celtics win this series, this is fantastic exposure for them to be in the finals with this young of a team that they have, and with a first-year head coach. And it says a lot to me about the future of this team and what to be excited for going forward, regardless of the outcome of this series.
Yeah,
Can I rebuttal real quick, Jay?
Good. I had a whole soliloquy, but okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt the soliloquy. Just hold on to that thought. First of all, look into the picture that you got up with this whole finals debate. That explains this whole series right there. Look how calm Steph looks. He's smiling. He's enjoying the game. He know we got this in the bag. And look at Jason Tatum. We got to look at urgency on his face, don't he? He understands that I'm in there with some animals right now. And,
I bet money he just got fouled and he's looking up at the second chart up top. I promise you.
That's fair though. That's why I mentioned the experience thing with Golden State. However, I mean, yes, they do.
I don't know if it's experience. I think it's swag. I mean, he just has swag.
But one thing that Gabby mentioned was the defense. And let's just ask ourselves this question: what does Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kevin Durant have in common? They're all isolation players. Yeah. They're all isolation players. You see, the thing is, Golden State does not play ISO ball. And what you have to realize is that Boston is a team that likes to switch. And I think that switching is going to get them in trouble. We saw
that's about where I was going to go with that.
We saw what happened when Luka was on Jordan Poole. We
Rob,
see
can I
what
see-
happened.
uh-huh.
What you want Al
Please.
Horford to do if he's on the island with Steph Curry?
Oh, but
What
well,
do you
Al
wanna
Horford.
do?
I don't want to hear
They're
nothing.
not
Al
gonna-
Horford. Hold on. Al Horford had Jimmy Butler so scared he made him shoot a 3. So you gonna respect. You
Is
gonna
Jimmy
respect Al
Butler
Horford.
Steph Curry? Did you
go-
just
you
I
go-
was
put
saying,
Jimmy
I
Butler
don't
Steph
think
Curry
the
in the
three. I
same
think he
level?
wanted to win the game. Let's be
You go
honest.
respect my
He
man,
took
Al
that
Horford.
3 to win the game.
But real quick,
I mean, my point though with the defense, though, with the Celtics defense, is I think they're going to be able to have enough players to put on guys to be able to put that pressure on them and stop them from being able to make a lot of those threes and forcing them to take tough shots, because that is what the Celtics do. That's something that they're really good at, is forcing teams to take not as good of shots. And I think Ime Udoka has a lot to do in terms of figuring out how that's all going to play out, who's going to be put on who, because that's a really important thing to do here. I think what would make most logical sense is obviously putting the defensive player of the year on Steph Curry, but then who's going to be on everybody else. And so I think it's going to be those types of matchups that are going to be what this comes down to. But we've seen the Celtics put a lot of pressure on teams to force them to toss up those shots that aren't as good. And I think that's something that could work to their advantage. And another thing that we haven't really talked about yet, I don't know if you guys talked about it before I got on or not, is the rest that Golden State has had. I think that could either work significantly in their favor or significantly not. I think it's going to depend going into tonight whether they're a little bit rusty because they haven't played as recently as the Celtics have played, or if that's going to work in their favor because they've had more time to be able to kind of watch the Celtics and the Heat series play out and figure out what their strategy is going into the series. So I think that's another thing to consider as well, because that could definitely go one of two ways, and it can be significant in game one.
And here's the deal. And speaking of rest, I said this earlier. I don't think rest or a hindrance for Golden State, because like you said, they have experience. It's not their first rodeo. They know what to do. They all know their roles. I don't think rest is an issue for them. Well, however, though, I think that one of the X factors for Boston is rest, because you got Marcus Smart, who's coming off 3 major injuries to his ankle, his thigh, and I forgot the other one he had, but I know he's got like 3 out there. So
his foot.
You got Smart with injuries, and then you got Robert Williams, who's played spotting because of injuries. And this is your defensive player of the year, and I don't think he's 100%. And he's going to have to be 100% to go up against, or to be effective enough against like a guy like Curry, because he is not an ISO guy. Or if you put him on Clay, but I don't think you put him on Clay because Clay has been struggling at the first part of the game, and I don't think he really comes on until the second. So again, I think you do put him on Curry. They do play a heavy switch defense, like you said. But I think that the injuries to Smart and Williams could play a factor going up against Golden State. But again, the X factor is you have 2 days off in between games, and hopefully that will be the deciding factor for those guys.
Question: What was Marcus Smart's injuries again? Can someone refresh my memory?
I know one was his ankle, the other one was his thigh, and there was a third one out there. I forgot the third one was.
Interesting. So
yeah, it is interesting.
So
Go look it up.
So hold on, real quick. So you mentioned 2 players, and one of those players you were talking about 3 plus 2 is 5. Celtics and 5. Thank you, Jay. You made my argument.
No, I'm saying, hey, look, watch this finals has number 1 and number 2 defenses going at it. So let's be honest. Golden State plays just as good defense as Boston does. And if you guys are behind the 8 ball a little bit with injuries, that will come to be a factor at some point.
Bro, only thing that's going to be injured is Golden State's championship attempt.
Yeah.
We're going to put pause on them, bro.
I like that.
Gabby, I'm just letting you know, Gabby. I'm just letting you know. I am by far probably the most over-the-top Celtics fan. And you can ask Rob this. I am like over the top. I'm excessive. I am dramatic. It's to the point where, like, if we win, I go on Facebook and I'm mad and mature. If we lose, Facebook just so happened to be down that day. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. But we chilling, bro. It don't matter, bro. People want to talk about Steph Curry.
I mean, I love that passion, though. That's the passion we need going into a series like this.
Boston has always been a passionate franchise,
and that's fine.
And it's a beautiful thing when you guys get your hopes shattered.
No, Rob, bro, whoa. Rob, stay over there. Stay in your lane, because this lane right here is a championship. See, this is a championship lane. It's a fast lane. You out there in the slow lane. You in the second place lane. You feel me? What you every other racer that try to go against Usain Bolt. And we is Usain. Every other guy who is lost in history because he just couldn't beat Usain Bolt. That's who you are. And we are Usain Bolt. We're Michael Phelps. Serena Williams, Tiger Woods. We are LeBron James, brother.
I get you. Look. I see Logan and them. They have to move on. They got other segments to talk about. But let me just say this. It's just so funny that in 2010, the last time you were in the finals, you lost to my first favorite player.
Correct.
And Kobe Bryant. Correct. Isn't it ironic that now you get to lose to my current favorite player and Steph Curry? I appreciate y'all.
Hold on, Robert.
I never met Ted in my life.
Robert, tell the full story though. Talk about when we had Kobe crying, basketball's hard, wishing he had Shaq back. Tell the full story, brother. Tell that full story, man. All right then.
Warriors and Falcons.
Love Gridiron Yuki, Cabby.
Thanks for having me on, man. Y'all have a good one, man. Enjoy y'all Boston talk, man.
All right, Rob. You be serious, and by the way,
Yuki knows he's out of here.
Before we just move on from this topic, I do have to say, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going with Celtics in 7. Sorry.
Me too. No, listen, I got
offended by that.
Wait a minute. I can't let you just like that. Because you just said Golden State. Now you're switching it to
Whoa. Time out. Rewind. Hold on now, Skip. I never said Golden State in 7. You out your mind.
I didn't say you, Pride. Stop thinking I just said you. I said Gabby was the first word out my mouth. See, you. That's where you go.
My fault. I'm too sensitive.
Video on, and then you'll be able to read my lips.
But Jay, you know I'm sensitive. You know how I get. I do
know how you get, and I do appreciate your honesty.
That's my fault. That's on me.
Gabby, you did say Golden State. Now you're saying Celtics. You gotta pick one.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm picking Celtics in 7. I have to.
And you're locking this in.
Yes, because I can't. Okay.
I need a clip on this. This is at 36 minutes. We got Gabby on record. Go Celtics in 7. Okay.
Yeah, because I cannot jinx them, and I feel like if Golden State wins, and I had picked.
No worry, we're gonna promo the hell out of this. It's all good.
At least if I pick Celtics in 7, I'd rather be wrong knowing Golden State won than picking Golden State and then winning and then blaming myself for jinxing the Celtics. So I just can't do it. I can't. I have to say Celtics.
Now hold on, now, Gabby. I gotta go to my Celtics guru here, Pride. I'm gonna let you be the deciding factor. Do we let Gabby off the hook because she said Golden State first, now Celtics, and this is Boston is balling? Do we let her off the hook?
I say no.
I'm gonna let her off the hook only because she locked it in Boston in 7.
Yeah, true. I didn't lock it in.
That is true.
Yes.
I have to understand because Pride is Celtic Nation, and so I had to go to Celtic Nation to get approval to grant me that. So now we're good. Now we're locked in.
Logan, what did you say? The high council?
To the highest council.
Oh, man. Yo, this is Star Wars, bro. You got to. I am Mace Windu. Approach me to see if Anakin can be a knight. Approach me. Oh, man. What a time to be alive. Boston in 7.
It is a good time to be alive, man. You can't give me that game 1 tonight, baby.
Everybody's saying Golden State in 5 or 6. I mean, they can definitely say that, but honestly.
I mean, me personally, there's no way this series goes 5.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
I don't. There's no way I can see this. As far
as to say, I think the Celtics split these first 2 games in San Francisco. I think they go back to Boston with the series tied 1-1.
Yeah, 100%.
I gotta be honest. I think Golden State probably takes game 1, and I think that the Celtics probably would possibly take game 2. If they don't take game 2 in San Francisco and they go back to Boston down 0-2, I don't know, man. That's gonna be a really difficult slope.
Jay, listen, look here. Okay, it's a 7-game series, right? Boston could be down 5, and guess what? I'm screaming.
Boston
Celtics in 7.
I'm cooling, bro.
Wait. Maybe you're saying Celtics in 10.
Hold on. Math. Hold on. Time out. I said we're down by 5. 11. Boston in 11.
Oh, there we go.
Celtics in 11. We're good.
Quick math. Quick math.
Listen, we're gonna move on.
I'm looking at players like Grant Williams and Al Horford, players like that who have shown that in this playoffs that they can make an impact on this team and make a difference. And this is really the series for players like that to really be able to step up. Look at Grant Williams and his development this year. Somebody like that and how far he's come this year. This is a series where he can really try to prove himself to be able to even get the opportunity to be in the talks of possibly having a starting job on this team soon. So this is one of those series where you want to be able to show that you can really make a difference and contribute. I'm looking at players like that, Pritchard, Grant Williams, Al Horford's been phenomenal in this playoffs. Can he keep that up too? That's another person I'm looking at too. Like, I'm not even looking at players like Tatum and Brown because for the most part, you know what you're going to get from them. It's those types of guys that I feel like are a little bit not as talked about. But if they can make a difference and they can come in and make an impact and contribute offensively, that's something that I think could throw off the Warriors a little bit.
I got to be honest with you. When I look at the Celtics, I said the same thing about Dallas when Dallas went into playing Golden State. I said if Dallas wants to even have a prayer and chance to beat Golden State, every man has to show up. It's got to be an all-hands-on-deck effort. Your one, your two, your junkyard dog, which in this case for you is Horford, and your bench guy coming off the bench, which would be Williams. If the Celtics don't go in there and every man play up, they're going to get their butts hurt. But if they – and that's kind of what the Celtics did a little bit against Miami was they had guys going spotty. And you can't do that against a team like Golden State if you want to.
Yeah, they could get away with that in a couple. They could get away with that in a couple of games against Miami because it was a little bit different. But you cannot get away with something like that against the Warriors. Everybody needs to be stepping up, and it cannot be a repeat of a game like Game 6 when they lost, when it was only Tatum and Brown contributing, and then Derek White though off the bench was also a little bit contributing as well, but. Players like that, Derek White, I'd also even throw into that conversation. Those types of guys need to be able to step up in every game. And then I think the Celtics have a genuine chance of winning that series in 7 games.
But I think that's unfair to say because we're like, I don't know. People are looking at the 2 games against Miami and pretending like that's how our role players have been the entire playoffs. But
I didn't say that though because I already said.
No. I'm not saying you. No, I'm not saying you. I promise. I'm not saying you. I promise. You know, I'm just saying like. People have been acting like lately. The people who are saying Golden State in 5, what they're doing, they're looking at like the 2 anomaly games we had against Miami and saying, "Oh yeah, that's how they've been the entire time." They won't talk about Brooklyn. They won't talk about Miami. They won't talk about that. They won't, you know. So I understand the 2 games. Yes, that was concerning. I understand that, you know. But my thing is to sit here and pretend like that's been our role players the entire playoffs. I think that's absurd. That's just me though. But you know, then
Gridiron Yuki says pride. Remember how cocky you were with the Patriots Buffalo Bills game, and when they got blown out, he said you got to stop digging yourself into potential graves, man.
Tell him. Hold on. Look here, brother. All right, not that. All right, we don't talk about that. We don't bring that up anymore.
That's old.
Hey, I'm not bringing up Gridiron Yuki. I'm just asking you and commenting on what he said.
All I'm saying, stop talking about old stuff, man. Stop talking about old Yuki.
Hey, listen, you sit all the time and tell me talk about the Rockets or this, and then you're bringing up everything underneath the sun.
That's different. That's different. That's different. And I'm gonna tell you why it's different because I'm saying it. That's why it's different. So don't hold me accountable. Don't hold me. No, I'm not saying that until they change his name back to LA Knight. I'm going on a sabbatical.
Oh.
You know what this reminds me of when I think of the Celtics and they go in there and they're gonna play. And let me tell you something: the Cowboy fans are the same way. You go in there, you want to put up your best case, and you don't want to show weakness, and you go up against the Giant and Golden State, and then they say, "Well, what did you think about the loss?" But I love her, Jerry. I'm my best Jerry Springer voice. But I love her, Jerry. And you just stay with it. I got it. It's all good. But I love her, Jerry.
Well, all I'm saying.
Jay, this is.
I might be a little older. I gotta go watch Jerry Springer to get that quote, but it's all good.
What you mean, Jay? It just shut down like this year.
Jerry Springer did it finally end this year?
I think so. He became a judge.
That was the best programming ever. You know how many episodes me and my wife sat down and said, "Oh my God, how many relatives can we pair these women that are on the stage?" It was crazy, but it's all
good. Dude, it ended and he became a judge. Like, let that sink in. Like, what are we doing?
That's true. You got a good point, right?
Hey, listen, we're going to move on, folks. We'll talk about this all day long. And here's the deal. Trevor Story coming to the Red Sox. He's back in 222, 61 strikeouts. I think, what has he got? 21 walks. I don't know, man. The dude, he was supposed to come there and be this great force, but he's really struggling. And then when I look at Boston as a whole, their batting average for the right now is 258, and their team ERA is at 387. So let me ask you this, guys, a question. What's going on with Trevor Story, and how do you guys plan to turn this Boston Red Sox team around, or do you think they can be turned around?
Okay, well, first of all, Trevor Story's had a pretty monster month of May, so I'm not sure where that's exactly coming from,
Thank
because his May was pretty phenomenal, and that was
Trevor Story's May was phenomenal.
yes, Trevor Story had a great month of May. If you want to look at his stats for May, his batting stats for May.
Didn't he win Player of the Month for May?
So from that standpoint, that's a little inaccurate saying that he's struggling, because yes, April was bad for him, but he's been really good. He was really good in May. And what I will say about Trevor Story is, like, people need to keep in mind that the guy switched positions when he came here and switched leagues. So those two things alone, it's an adjustment period for him to be able to, he has to, get used to playing second base on top of playing in the American League versus the National League. Playing in Boston is its own animal in itself. So there's all those factors, but he was really good in May. He started to be the Trevor Story that they signed him to be. And so I think that now that he's getting more used to playing in Boston, I think that is going to continue to go well for him from that standpoint. His first month of the season, were a little too critical, because yes, he wasn't playing well. He got booed at Fenway by the fans, but then he comes out and he has this monster May. I think now he's starting to kind of get acclimated, used to everything, the adjustments he had to make coming onto this team. And also, let's keep in mind, he was one of the last free agents to sign somewhere, so he didn't get as much of a spring training as a lot of the other people got either. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well with all of this. And then he had a really good May. So Trevor Story right now, I'm not really looking as the issue with the Red Sox. The issue I'm looking at right now is that bullpen, and the fact that they didn't really do as much as they should have to address the bullpen in the off season. And we're coming in now and we're seeing the bullpen blow a lot of games. And yes, they weren't hitting well to start the season either. That's also another fact. The whole month of April, the offense was bad. Now you have players like JBJ, who's hitting really well at Fenway. The bottom of the order is contributing. Christian Vasquez is hitting, which is really nice to see. So you have players in the bottom of the order that are contributing. Richie Cordero, I mean, that guy's been definitely an asset this year to the offense so far when he's been playing. That's another factor to take into this too. And then obviously you have your obvious ones of Devers, JD, and Bogaerts who are going to hit. But overall, I mean, the offense really is not what I'm looking at right now, because the offense is overall fine to me. They've shown improvements since April. They've started to hit like the Red Sox. I'm still looking at the pitching. I mean, this is very much a question mark still. I mean, you have Michael Wacha, who's been really good from a pitching standpoint. Nathan Eovaldi's off and on. Like, that guy's been a little bit inconsistent this year. Rich Hill is also inconsistent. Nick Pavetto's been pretty good overall. I will give him that. So you have a rotation that's very kind of questionable right now. And then you have Garrett Whitlock starting, who was out of the bullpen originally, and they have him starting games now. I think that does change when Chris Sale and James Paxton come back, because I think he's going to be moved back to the bullpen at some point. But he's been obviously really pretty reliable as a starter overall. But I'm still looking at that bullpen as the biggest piece, as something that they need to turn around. And the fact that they can't beat their division. Their division is what's holding them back the most right now. If they had won more of those division games, they'd be in significantly better shape right now. So they need to figure out what they're doing against the rest of the AL East, because that's what's the biggest problem for them right now too. And I think, they're almost at 500. It's only the beginning of June. I think there's still time. I think they can still, they still are very much in that wild card race right now. And, I think that they can still get one of those wild card spots. I think it's very possible, but I'm just hoping to see some changes from a pitching standpoint as we get closer to the trade deadline and just closer to the All-Star break, and just kind of see what they do to maybe kind of adjust some of those pitching rotations, and kind of see what they can do to adjust that, because that to me is still looking like the biggest issue for me personally, is that bullpen in particular is kind of screaming the biggest problem right now that hasn't shown improvements really from the beginning of the season.
So Logan, to carry off of what she says, Matt Barnes is on the 15-day IL with a shoulder issue, which is their primary closer. And then the bullpen is giving you 396. They're 10th in the AL. How realistic? And right now they're 3.5 back on the wild card. I think 11 back on the Yankees. So what do you see from this Boston team going forward.
Well, it's like what Jonathan Suggs said. He said their batting average third, runs is fourth, and slugging percentage is third, but their bullpen, like we said, is just not getting it done.
Yeah.
And I mean, also too, like they said, they've been iffy at both home and away. And talking just for Story, like I said, the thing he's top 10 in terms of RBIs, but he's also top 5 in terms of strikeouts. But we knew that whenever he got signed, he's always been a very high strikeout player.
Expected. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's a striker machine. So like,
Oh, yeah,
that
I mean, everyone knows that.
Nobody should be
Right,
surprised
yeah.
by the strikeouts.
exactly. He's uber aggressive. He's kind of like a slightly better at the plate, slightly better controlled Javier Baez. He's a very aggressive dude who wants to swing for the fences. The only difference between him and Javi, in all honesty, is that there's times where Trevor Story is like, all right, cool, I'll settle for contact. When Baez is like, contact, what's that?
Right.
Like, that's really like the only difference. But like, you're shocked from the strikeouts, bro. Go get a drug test, bro.
No, and like I said, that was to be expected whenever he got signed. But I think that, like you said, it is super early. We're just now 2 months into the season. I mean, a lot of teams that we thought would be good aren't doing the best at the moment. I mean, my team, Jay, the Braves ain't looking the best at the moment, but we're still battling, right? And I think Story, he'll get it turned around. I mean, Devers has been phenomenal this year for the Red Sox. He's really been that one guy to go to. And I feel like you said, the pitching rotation and the starting rotation, it's holding its own. It can be a little bit better, of course. There's some adjustments you can make there. But I fully expect this team, if they are committed, if they do have a good enough record at the trade deadline, to completely just annihilate that bullpen, trade as many pieces you can get some new players in there, and make a good postseason run out. Because, I mean, like I said, the AL East is tough this year. I mean, Yankees are on top. The Yankees have really made a good stride, unfortunately, for all of us here. Except for our boy Frankie C, who I kind of got we couldn't get him on tonight, Jay, because he wouldn't shut up about it. But
yeah, exactly. Especially what they're doing against Anaheim right now.
Yeah, the Rays have been one of the most consistent teams in baseball, really in the last 10 years, which is crazy. The Blue Jays have, they've kind of struggled too. We all thought the Blue Jays would be maybe where the Yankees are right now, but I think that Boston still has that good window right now. It is still early to just complete, kind of annihilate things, to be like, oh, the season's over. Now we're 2 months in, we're 50 games in. But
Right.
Wait till the trade deadline in July. So we got about another month, about 2 left. See how it's looking. And I think as long as you can get rid of that bullpen, get some new guys in there, and I think they can make a good second half push.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Do you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think this team is too talented to not be able to turn things around. Obviously, their April hurts them in terms of standings and everything right now and record, because their month of April was rough. It seemed like they were just finding different creative ways to lose games every time. So that was really frustrating.
That's true.
It was a different person kind of blowing it every time out of that bullpen. It was just, or the offense wasn't hitting. It was just so many different things that they were just creating different reasons to lose. But in May, they started to look more like the Red Sox team that we were expecting going into this year, the team that went to the ALCS last year that, you would like to think got better in the offseason, and they started to look more like a cohesive unit and a cohesive baseball team in the month of May. And so if we can get that team going forward now, then that is a team I think that is capable of making the playoffs. And like you all said, I mean, it's so early still. It's just so hard to draw conclusions about anything. Every time people kind of talk about the Red Sox in terms of the season might be over, we need to keep in mind how the Braves season went last year. Pretty much the whole first half, even into the second half.
Jay. Just saying.
The Braves were not good last year. Like they were struggling to hit 500 for a lot of the season last year. And then they really didn't turn it around till August. Really,
they turned it around at that trade deadline when they brought in Soler, and I forgot who the other two they brought in, but they turned it around when they made those trades.
That's bullpen guys.
Well, then then that's the whole thing too, was then they go and they win the World Series. So it's you never really know.
Yeah, that trade deadline was huge for them.
And without Acuna too, Jay, that's still the thing.
It's just so hard to draw conclusions at the beginning of June in terms of what teams are going to do. But when it comes to the Red Sox, I do actually overall see, I mean, you can't be losing a game at home to the Reds. That's bad for one. But also, just in general, besides that, I do see them kind of moving in an upward trajectory in terms of they are starting to show some improvement, but that bullpen is a glaring weakness. And if they are a team that has the potential to make a playoff run this year, and we're evaluating when it's getting closer to the trade deadline, I'm looking at Chaim Bloom and being like, okay, what are we going to do to fix this bullpen now? You know,
John Suggs said Team Whitty talked about what they need to do is turn things around if the Angels. Man, we've been saying this for 5-10 years now.
My Astros are doing great right now. We're 5.5 up. I don't care what the Angels do. Okay, I hope they perish and go to heaven and just stay in heaven. We're good.
That's your only competition here right now because Texas is
struggling.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, the bag boy, your local Kroger's probably on the A's right now.
Man, hey, listen, the A's are. Yeah, it is pretty bad. Well, they got rid of a lot of people too, so I expected that really out of them. It doesn't surprise me. I'll tell you what, though, Mookie Betts, and Pride knows Mookie, and so does Gabby. Hey, that's a former Boston Red Sox right there for you. And I'm pretty sure they want him back.
Yeah, R.I.P. I miss him a lot. I love Mookie. I mean, he's fantastic. He's versatile. He can do pretty much everything. And so if I'm looking at a right now standpoint physically at this particular moment in time, I probably would say yes, because of how much he can do. And also, I mean, injuries do play a factor. Like, I hate to put injuries into play, but you look at players like Mike Trout, and like, obviously overall in baseball, like in Major League Baseball, Mike Trout is arguably a top 10 player of all time. Probably not even arguable. I'd say he definitely is probably a top 10 player of all time. But I mean, the guy's not healthy, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, when he's not healthy, it's like hard to make an argument for him. So like in this present moment in time, if you look at Mookie, not only offensively, but also defensively, the guy can pretty much do everything. And what baseball fan right now would not look at Mookie Betts and say they wouldn't want him on their team? That's something that is a huge thing for me when it comes to arguing this topic is like, are there any baseball fans right now that would say, no, I don't want Mookie on my team?
Yeah, you have one right here. Me. Okay. I hate Mookie. His hairline is messed up. He's a crybaby. I hate him. Never liked him. I can't say that. I'm just.
Why are you going in so hard on him, Pride? Dang.
Listen. I told you I'm sensitive. He left us. I'm crying. I'm about to do Xander Bogaerts the same way when he leaves us. Anyway, I'm gonna do him the same way. And Rafael.
Oh yeah, well Xander, that's gonna be really sad, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna do him like that too. Look, in terms of the best player in the MLB, I don't know. I want to say yes, but like that top percent of those guys, it's like you can make an argument, no lie, for probably 5 to 6 guys. And Mookie's one of them. And you could make that argument. I don't think right now we have a clear-cut best in the MLB because I just think top heavy is the wrong word. But I think there's a lot of guys that you can make the argument about, you know? Like, remember, just last year, we had this conversation about Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh, yeah.
And the year before that, I think it was, we had I love him too. Like, and the year before that, I think it was, we were talking about Shohei Ohtani. So it's like,
I mean, he had a good month, but I don't know about best.
I don't.
He could be in that list, but I wouldn't say Paul Goldschmidt's above Mookie. In no way.
I don't put Paul Goldschmidt in that conversation.
Fantastic, but
I put him a step
not above Mookie.
I put him a step under. Like, you know how he's like the best and then extremely great. I put Goldschmidt in that extremely great.
Because he's always been really good.
Goldschmidt's a fantastic hitter. I mean, definitely.
Oh, he's phenomenal. And very underrated defensively too.
Defensively, he's definitely good too. But I still think overall, in terms of versatility and just everything in general, I still would put Mookie above him.
And that's fine, you know. But I do think there's like, and on top of that, are we including pitchers? Because if we are, Max Scherzer needs to be on this list.
Well, that's the whole problem, though. That's the whole problem.
And that's where it gets. See, and that's when this conversation.
You can't put pitchers in the same category as everybody else, though. Like,
but the thing is,
it's like apples and oranges. They kind of have their own thing with the Cy Young.
Nah, but
unless you have like a Justin Verlander type season.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying. Like, there's a couple guys who are having, in terms of pitching, phenomenal seasons. That you probably see them once every 4 or 5 games. Their impact is so great. Case in point, I hate the Astros with a passion. I hate you, Jay, but Justin Verlander has been phenomenal. Like phenomenal is disrespectful to the word phenomenal. That's how great this guy's been. Like
after Tommy John surgery too.
No,
Like,
but I mean, I'm
imagine.
with like all of you on the whole. It's hard to say best player overall because player,
Yeah.
like, what does that actually mean? Because pitchers can't really be in the same category as everybody else. Like, look at Jacob DeGrom. I mean, like, Jacob
Yeah.
DeGrom, obviously, like, we're all lucky to be living in the Jacob DeGrom era, I like to say, because, like, somebody like that is just such a special talent that we're probably not really going to see again. And so you look at somebody like that, and it's like, oh wow, like it's like, oh wow, like, you know, he's phenomenal. He's in his own category in terms of pitching. But
Wait. Hold on now.
I gotta
It's
just
such a-
hold on real
wait.
quick, real quick.
I'm
It's
not
such
gonna
a
let you go that far
different
because
thing than
listen, if you want to talk about
position
putting in your own category, you got to put Nolan Ryan there at 5,000 strikeouts, and he got a no hitter with pretty much every team he played for up until even in his 40s with the Rangers. He got a no hitter. So let's not talk about putting him in his own category when you got other players out there that are pretty much doing more special things than that.
Well,
Jake,
Jacob
you're being
DeGrom also-
old. You're being
I mean-
an old crybaby. Shut up.
I just can't say put someone in a category by yourself when you got a 5,000 strikeouts that nobody's ever going to top.
Okay,
And you want to talk about putting your own category. I can't.
Well,
do
we're
that.
talking about right now in this current moment.
Thank
I
you.
thought.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
that's what
Wait a
you're
minute,
saying.
okay, you didn't say that.
MLB right now is.
Right now,
You
Jay.
specify
We're
this
not going back to
season.
the 90s.
I thought we were talking about right now in this moment anyway, because that's what your original question was. So, like,
Well, that's true. Okay, that's
I'm not sure
fine.
how that is actually even really relevant. But anyway, with Jacob DeGrom, it's like, yeah, it's just unfortunate that we haven't really gotten to see him fully healthy either, because he gets injured a lot of the time too. But somebody like that, but my point is, like, you can't throw that into like the same category of best MLB player right now, because pitchers are just in a different category in general.
That's
John
true.
Starks.
Yeah.
You gotta
real quick.
have Verlander up there, top pitcher.
Real quick. I need to defend myself. Jay, put up Yuki's comment because this is.
I didn't want to. Hey, I didn't want to hurt your
I gotta
feelings.
defend myself. I gotta defend myself. Here's the difference about what I did and what you did, Yuki, because he's not telling the full story. Yes, I admitted I was butthurt, but then I also acknowledged that he is one of the best players in the MLB. I didn't take nothing from him. Yeah, I showed that I was still butthurt that he left, but then I gave him his props. Homie, you're saying Debo's dog water. You're saying Debo's trash.
Devo ain't trash.
Thank you, man. Like, nah, it's different. Yeah, I'm butthurt that Mookie Betts left. I made fun of his hairline. Yeah, he's still
You were gonna keep going too before we cut you off.
Oh,
phenomenal player. Listen, Mookie Betts is a phenomenal player. Defensively, offensively, 5-tool player, all about the board, right? I'm just mad he couldn't be a 6-tool player, and I'm only saying 6 because even though it doesn't exist, I'm being sensitive because he left. That's all. But I ain't saying he's trash.
You just said it. It's okay. What you're going through right now, Pride, is what I'm going through with Freddie Freeman.
With Freddie
It's
Freeman,
okay.
exactly.
We're going through the same thing. We know he's a great
Same
player,
thing.
but we're just sad the fact he left.
I'm going to see how you respond to this, and Gabby as well. I didn't say this first of all. I just want to clarify. Bart Scott is the one that said it. He said the Jets are twice as good as the Patriots. What will and my question is, what will Mac Jones do in year 2? So is your roster twice as less than the Jets? Because he said the Jets are better.
Bold.
yeah, that's
That is bold. I mean, that's bold.
Bold.
I don't think that's
No.
definitely a little over
No.
dramatic of a take. Do I think the Jets will be closer in the division this year to everybody else than they have been? Absolutely, 100%. I really do think
Still
that.
last.
But like, I don't think that statement is like, at all accurate, because at the end of the day, like, you still have to think about just the Patriots and just the coaching for one as a factor in all of this, and for two, it's like everybody needs to calm down about Mac Jones. Like, he was a rookie last year. Like, he's gonna make rookie mistakes. Like, he's gonna be,
What's going on, Damien?
not like perfect in his first year, but I do think he's in a really good system for him to be able to blossom. I think he didn't and still doesn't have a true wide receiver 1, and I think that's a concern going into this season, because that's something that I was hoping that they would have addressed by now. Like, I don't trust the receiving core still, and that is something that has been an issue for this team. But I still think, I think obviously the Bills still win the division again. That team is phenomenal. Josh Allen is just, he's great. I think the Dolphins definitely are going to be a challenge this year too. I mean, Tua still, I'm not convinced is their guy, but I think they're going to be more of a challenge too in terms of the division this year. But I'm still putting the Jets in last, just for a lot of different reasons. But I think they actually will be a little bit closer, because I think overall that team is trending in the right direction in general. I mean, they have a good coach now. They had a good solid draft. I mean, they had, they're trending in the right direction, but I still don't think what they did is enough to put them twice as good as the Patriots. I think that's kind of an absurd statement, to be honest with you.
They're not even twice as good as they were last year, and they had one of the better drafts this year.
Yeah, I think they're better than they were last year. I just don't think they're twice as good. Like, I think they will actually be a better team, and they'll produce more wins this year. And
one more win won't mean nothing because they're still at the bottom. Look here, man. I don't give a listen. Y'all said this is a bold take. This is a CTE take. This dude needs to go get evaluated. And this ain't the first time he said no stupid stuff like this.
Let's not forget he was a former Jets player. Let's get that out.
Okay, first mistake. Oh, I'm a diehard Jets player. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, bro. Like, no, shut up. You're by far the dumbest dude on God's green earth. Because yeah, for every hole the Jets filled, there's still 15 other holes that they're looking at and going, wonder what we're gonna do. Because not a single player still wants to be there. Come on, bro. The average age on that team is still not old enough to go buy liquor, bro.
They are younger than us, and we are 24.
Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. Let this sink in, bro. They don't like in that big tub. They don't have Gatorade. They got baby formula. That's how young these kids are.
They got Pedialyte. They got Pedialyte in their bottles.
Like, think about it, bro. Think about it. This, all of a sudden, they had, again, respectable draft. I'm not poo-pooing on their draft, but to even think remotely that means that they're going to be better than the Patriots is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't even know if they'll even be better than the Houston Texans, the Detroit Lions. This is the category this team deserves to be in.
And they've been in for a while. Let's get really
for a decade, bro. Can I ask you a question? Imagine being 10-6, a wild card team, and you're still looked at as a worse team than the Cleveland Browns, who went over. Let that sink in. Digest that. They just made the wild card team. They made the wild card. They were in the wild card, and they still got people still looking at them like, I don't know if they beat the Cleveland Browns. Talking about the over, revolving chairs for their quarterback. Come on, man, stop playing, bro. This is by far the dumbest thing ever. No, not even close.
Let me ask you this. So you guys are, like I said, you guys are kind of in a weird situation. The Jets are not in the equation, but obviously Buffalo Bills are going to be number one. My question for you really is this. You got pretty much, the Patriots and Miami kind of stuck there in the middle. Mm-hmm. And my opinion is that, with the exception of the quarterback position, I think Miami has better players at all the other spots with the exception of quarterback. And I think if they could do like Garoppolo and 49ers and mask, some of Tua's maybe inconsistencies, they could be in the second spot and Patriots be in the third spot.
I could actually see the Patriots being in the third spot this year in the division, to be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't really be surprised if they are. I think, obviously last year, them even making the playoffs was definitely exciting because a lot of people didn't think they would make the playoffs in general last year with a rookie quarterback and just a lot of question marks in terms of their roster last year.
We were the number one team for like a week.
It's really hard to count out the Patriots in general because we just know that as long as Bill Belichick is there, we kind of have to trust the system. I think if they do make the playoffs, it'll be like they barely get in type thing. But, they have a tough schedule this year. I mean, there's a lot of tough games in there from what I'm looking at. And it's definitely the schedule this year is not ideal. So it's not – I don't think this is going to be a situation where they're like within one game of the Bills for the division. I actually think it's not going to be that close. And I think Miami is definitely a team to look out for this year too.
If Bart Scott's just talking about the draft, I can agree because I feel like the Jets. The Jets had 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, the Jets had a really good draft, especially compared to the Patriots, who didn't have the best draft.
I remember we were watching the draft live, and we're like, "Oh my god, the Jets haven't screwed up yet." They were doing.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, that was the first time I seen them draft, and I was like, that's actually a pretty competent.
And then as for the Patriots, we were all left scratching our heads about them going with a guy from Chattanooga. Which, props to him.
You're scratching your head. I know better than question Bill Belichick. Right, I don't question him.
Don't tell me you have that man going first.
You just can't question Belichick as long as he's in the picture.
Oh, no, I said this guy's going to be a 10-time Pro Bowler. Because they go with guys that no one really knows of.
Matter of fact, just to mess with you, he's going to be an 11-time Pro Bowler. I didn't like the pick, but listen, it's Bill Belichick, man. Last time I questioned Bill Belichick, guess what happened? Oh wait, nothing. Why? Because I never questioned this man before a day in my life. I'm not questioning this man.
I mean, well, you can't. That's why, because it's like
Exactly.
people are like, oh, like he had a bad draft. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, maybe, but we all know that like his drafting has not always been the best. However, like he knows better than us what could work with this team. You know what I mean? And
And
it's
not only
like
that,
this guy is like, this man has like proven to us way too much that like he can't be doubted or counted out. And so as long as the Patriots are there and as long as Bill Belichick is the coach of that team, I will never sit here and say that the Patriots can't be a team that competes with their division or be a playoff team, because you just can't
100%.
do that. And I do think that Mac Jones will show improvement this year too. I think now that he has that year under his belt, he knows the playbook better, because as we all know, the Patriots playbook is really complex and hard to learn. I think now that he has a year under his belt and he's more acclimated with the system, I do think he shows improvements in year two. My main concern, though, is does he have enough around him to be able to set that team up for success this year? That's still to kind of be, seen. We're not really sure. But overall, I do think that they are a team that it's just hard to count them out with Belichick. And I think that, the beginning of the season, they can figure some things out. But again, their schedule is difficult. So there's some there.
And another thing is like, yeah, people say, oh yeah, Bill Belichick doesn't really trade, like he doesn't draft well. Like that statement in its totality is not really true, because you know what he does with the people he don't use? More times than not, he flips them for a better player or for more draft picks that he uses later to get a better player. So it's like, people got to be careful with that narrative, because like, yeah, sure, he misses some, obviously he's human, he misses some, but this notion that, oh yeah, he's mid when it comes to draft, I think that's unfair, because yeah, sure, not every guy he drafts gets plugged in, but guess what? They get plugged in somewhere else, and then Bill Belichick gets a better haul than what he got. But Bill Belichick be doing, he'll pick a guy in the third, and then he'll pick a guy in the fifth round and get a third round pick. In essence, he flipped picks. He traded the fifth for a third to get a better guy that fits the system. So yeah. I'm not down Bill Belichick. I'm not doing that, bro.
I mean, I mean, like that question in here of their backups. I mean, they drafted a quarterback. Yeah, they got but
Zappy.
then
He's solid.
Zappy.
Yeah, I mean,
he about to get zapped out real quick.
I mean, the Patriots, that was always an issue, was the backup quarterback spot too, because I mean, Brian Hoyer was never reliable. Stidham was never reliable. So it was like, okay, if Mac Jones gets injured, then they were kind of screwed. You know what I mean? And so it's like, from that standpoint, it's like, well, what do you really do at the quarterback position? But I think overall, when I'm looking at the Patriots right now, like, was there more that I thought that they might have done to address certain things in the draft? Yes, but I also am inclined to feel like maybe they didn't address those positions because they feel confident in the people they have, and they feel like maybe those people will work. So I don't know. It's just hard for me to really fully question, like, some of the things that Belichick's doing, because as much as it might not make sense to a lot of us, like, it's Bill Belichick at the end of the day, so there's obviously a reason for it.
Say that, sisters. Look, man, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Bill Belichick could have drafted me 2 years ago, and I wouldn't question this, man. For those of you who don't know, I broke my back 2 years ago. Okay, I could not move, and if Bill Belichick drafted me, guess what I'm doing? I'm walking to practice. Shoot, I ain't questioning.
No, you're not. No, you broke your back. You ain't walking nowhere. I'm sorry, I don't believe that.
You don't have to believe that, because you know who believes that you could do it?
Bill Belichick. That's all you need.
Hey, listen. Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, but what's interesting to me though is Bill Belichick has just turned 70, and it's interesting because most coaches, when they get to his age, they tend to drop off a little bit. Become a little bit antiquated and things like that. When the newer guys, newer systems, newer ways of thinking kind of take over a little bit, like the Sean McVays and whatnot. But it's interesting that it seems like Bill Belichick really hasn't had that drop off. Like, he still continues to be able to, strategize, even with these young guys, changing the game a little bit.
Just one only thing I ask Bill Belichick: never in your life let your son call a defensive game again, ever. I don't care what the problem is. I don't care what happened to you. I don't care if you're going through it. I don't care. Your son is never coaching. He's never calling another game until we sit this man down. almost giving up 50. What type of foolishness is this? Yeah,
I
great
mean-
defense, giving up almost 50. Foolishness.
I mean, I do like that question, though, of is there a new team to win the AFC this year? That is actually a really interesting question because I feel like the AFC is kind of stacked this year, especially the quarterbacks in the AFC. I think it's going to be really, really tough. I mean, he even said Chargers. That whole division to me is intriguing. The AFC West in general to me is intriguing this year because obviously, like in the last few years, it was KC and then everybody else. Now I'm looking at that as, you know, the Chargers are good. The Broncos got better. I mean, I think the Raiders might actually have the toughest time in that division, to be honest with you, which is crazy to say because that even is a pretty solid team right now too. But that whole division, I feel like now has 4 teams that could be solid. And you look at teams like the Broncos and it's like, yeah, you know, they've struggled, but I mean, they had a solid defense the whole time. They kind of really needed a quarterback and now they have a quarterback. So what's a reliable quarterback? So that whole division in general is interesting to me. I just thought that was an interesting point that was brought up of who is going to win the AFC this year because, yes, I mean, at Buffalo, as much as I can't stand the Bills because I am a Patriots fan, they have a really good chance of winning the AFC here again. And then obviously anybody in the AFC West, I think it should be a conversation for that. You know, I think that the AFC this year is going to be a pretty wide open. Like there's a lot of teams that potentially could take that spot. And I think the AFC is just so stacked in terms of talent this year. So I think that from that standpoint, it's going to be really fun to watch them.
I'll tell you this right now. I think week 17, you're going to be seeing the number 1 seed in the AFC, the number 2 seed. You're going to see them playing full force. You're still going to be seeing them play. That's how close I genuinely think it's going to be.
It's going to be fun to watch, though.
Right now, I got the Chiefs division, the West division, taking all the wild cards. To be honest with you,
I'm there with you. In my opinion, I think the AFC West, every single team is over 500, at least 10 wins.
I think every team definitely could be over 500 in that division.
100%.
Sure. But it's like what's going to happen when they all play each other? You know, like that's when it gets to
it's gonna be survival of the fittest.
I think that's going to be the best division in football this year, though. I think that's going to be.
That's absolutely going to be the best.
Like that's going to be super fun. Like that's going to be the division to watch. I think that's going to be a dogfight. Whoever comes out of that division, that's going to be a tough team because if you come out of a division like that, that's stacked that much with that much talent, then you are legitimate. And I think people who are like Broncos fans are looking at it as like, oh, great, now we're finally probably good again, but the rest of our division is also really good too. You know what I mean? So it's like,
exactly
so that's not great for them. But I like the Chargers a lot. I think they're a really good team. I think last year I even thought they had a chance to win their division. So I think that's going to be a team to look out for. It's not just going to be Kansas City and then everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabby, I don't know what your time's looking like, but if you need to hop off, we certainly understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this was fun, though. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to come back because you evoke a lot of energy with pride.
Oh,
yeah, no,
definitely
Definitely have me on again for sure.
What, yo, Gabs, you gonna be back when Boston wins the championship? Because
I'll be decked out in my Celtics stuff for that too.
Hey, listen, Celtics win. Hey, we're regarded Celtics, Golden State. Hell, I don't know. I think Logan's going to be naked. I think it was the bet he lost and Golden State lost. So.
I don't remember making that bet, Jay. I don't know what kind of what you were reading into.
You didn't check your DMs.
I think you didn't check your DMs. I think you were talking.
Go look at your DMs.
I might need to delete Twitter or something. Then I don't know.
I just sent you a message in the DMs with all the parameters of it, so it's all good.
I'm scared why you have that, Jay. But anyways.
That's really funny. So good.
Well, all right, Miss Gab. We appreciate you being on, and you definitely are going to come back, and we look forward to having you, darling.
Yeah, please invite me back. I appreciate everyone. You guys are super fun. Definitely let me know. I'll have to have you guys on Boston Balling sometime, too.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
Don't bring Pride on. He'll talk forever. You don't want to bring Pride on.
That'll be a 4-hour
show.
Well, I mean, he's a Celtics fan, so can't
That's true. He is. He is a Celtics counsel. We call him the Celtics counsel.
Yes, sir.
But I will talk to you guys soon, then.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, folks. Hey, real quick. We're going to zoom through these topics almost like a rapid fire. Quinn Snyder talking about ending his 8-year stint with the Jazz over. They've had conversations with upper level management, and at this point, It has been basically a stalemate. They've offered him a contract, I believe, and I don't think he's taking it. They said that they got some philosophical differences. I think they're trying to work out. Jazz are in a luxury tax, not a lot of flexibility. Quinn Snyder, when he came, they were 25 and 57. He obviously did something for them, but not enough necessarily to get over the hump. What do y'all make of Quinn Snyder? Logan, is he gone?
Yeah, he definitely helped change the culture because, I mean, for the longest, Utah was just kind of that scrappy young team who would barely make the playoffs but then not do much, get eliminated first round. Then they got him in there. Of course, they got Gobert, Mitchell, the two big pieces, and now it looks like they're on the outs with each other. And, I mean, to be fair, they were the number 1 seed last year, and then they were like, what was their seed this year? Like 5 maybe a little bit better. And they disappointed both years. I mean, it's all great you can do it at the regular season, but if you can't do it in the postseason, you're more than likely going to get the boot. I think this might be it for him. They just kind of start fresh. And I don't know if they're going to go full rebuild, but I don't expect them to be nearly as good this upcoming season because I just don't think they have the star power. Of course, you have Mitchell and Gobert who are great, but you don't have the people around him to be better.
Want a bag or no?
Yeah, I would like a bag, please. Thank you, Craig.
Oh, my fault. I didn't know I muted myself. My fault.
Paper or plastic is the question.
Brian, is Quinn Snyder gone? Does he come back? What is the Jazz going to do with him, or what is he going to do with the Jazz?
Who cares? That's just a mid coach for a mid organization who makes mid decisions. Like he's like, oh yeah, it's philosophical differences. No, it's not philosophical.
No, that is not. No, I've never heard that before.
He's doing this.
Let's talk about Phil Jackson.
This is what he's doing, and honestly, he's doing it right. Notice how every single time Utah loses, how many times have we ever blamed Quinn Snyder? Spoiler for you, 0. No one has ever looked at him, and he's trying to get out before people start pointing the finger at him. That's all he's trying to do. He wants
smart man.
Split, so that way, hey, yo, say what y'all want. Y'all can't blame me because I dipped way before y'all could get down to my name on that list. There's no more.
Oh, yeah. No, I got you.
So it's like they're in an awkward position, bro. Like, who cares, though? Like, again, he's a mid-coach working for a mid-franchise who makes mid-decisions. What are we talking about here?
What do you think, Jay? Is he coming back or is he gone?
I think he's gone. I think Quinn's gone. I don't think he stays there. I think he's done all he can with the Jazz, and I think he knows that they're going to build that team around Donovan Mitchell, according to what the owners are saying, and that means that they may be looking to separate pieces, and who knows what they're going to get. And I think he's gone. I don't think he comes back. Danny Ainge, he's a great coach. I think he's a good coach. For me, it's going to be more is where does he wind up?
Jonathan said the Hornets will go after him. I mean, the Hornets, yeah. I definitely think he's going to be a head coach because, I mean, obviously if you're a head coach for 8 years, you're doing something right. And, I mean, the Hornets are another team that's young. They're scrappy. They made the play-in. And, I mean, they've got some good talent around them. So, I mean, maybe just the right coach could help them.
He wants a passion fruit juice.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Oh, Gridiron Yuki throwing out the hate, man. Yeah.
Hey, can I get some granola bars as well?
Yeah, can we get some granola bars? We love granola bars, man. Hey, listen.
Shout out Nature Valley.
Real quick, and I don't want to take too much time with this, but Darvin Ham, was he the right hire for the Lakers?
I'm okay. I'm cool with it only because he was with the Hawks back in the day. He was good. Everyone loved him. He's always had it seems like everyone's enjoyed his company. He's always been a good coach. But honestly, I don't think it matters who the coach is. You just have to have a coach so they're not vacant. We all know who the coach is on that team, and that's LeGM, LeBron. And I think that they were looking for someone who not per se had a lot of coaching experience, but were looking for someone who could connect with players, and that's why I think they went with Ham. Not because of his background and everything. They just want someone who was a locker room guy, who knows how to, calm down tense situations and whatnot, and who can rally guys behind if they're behind in a game. I think that's what they went with him because, I mean, obviously he's never been a head coach before. So
right,
they're just looking for someone who's more of a locker room guy than an X's and O's veteran Phil Jackson or whoever.
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely. All right, folks. Hey, NBA potentially expanding to Las Vegas. Well, actually, they said 2024.
Is it legit? Is it legit? Because I saw potential. I didn't see actually.
It may be. I might have had it wrong. It probably is. It's got to be potential because if it was going to happen, they would have already had uniforms and there would have been a lot there. So I think definitely potentially they may decide. I think potentially they're going to decide in 24 if they're going to do it or not. So 24 is probably the decision year if they expand or don't. I like the Seattle because I've always wanted the Seattle Supersonics to come back. I think Vegas is obviously a logistically good spot because of all the money and revenue there, so they're going to be able to support the team. So I like both spots for different reasons, honestly. What do you think, Pride?
I mean, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah?
I don't
Why
know.
is that?
I'm conflicted, right? Because look, Seattle Supersonics, cool, right? I mean, that's really let's if we're ready for the conversation, that's the only reason people care about putting the team back in Seattle. Let's just be
right.
Like if Seattle never had a team, nobody would care. In terms of Vegas, who cares? You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like, again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm cynical. There could be a thing, but like, what is the point of expanding the NBA when you already have a problem with the playoffs, which is why you opened it up for extra teams to make it.
Right.
And then you still got teams who are so dog shit, they can't even spell playing.
That's
like,
why I said, that's
so
why I think,
now-
Pride, what we need is what soccer does. Have regulation.
Yeah.
That means, Jay, that means if you're the worst team and you're in the league, say if you're I'll say the Rockets, right? That means you're gone. You're out of the NBA. You're out of here.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that means you can work your way back in, though. You just go to like the G
That's-
League or something. That would be phenomenal.
Right.
I would love that.
That's what I'm saying. Like something with like, I want like a censored version of that, right? Because like I would rather. All right, look, they lost, but let's take a look at how they're losing. Okay, they lost, but they're losing by 4 points, 7 points.
They're
not
close.
getting stopped. They're keeping it close. So you know what? You can stay in the league, no problem. We already have a problem with teams tanking. When you introduce 2 new teams, wait, hold on. You think Kevin Durant is going to one of those teams? You think LeBron James is going to one of those teams? Giannis, Jason or Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Joel Embiid, Nikola, Luka. You think one of those guys going there? Nah, homie. People forget about this second half, the second part of this. When a new team comes into existence, every single team, there's a certain number of players that those teams can say you cannot touch. Normally, it consists of the starting lineup plus 3 to 5 reserve guys, depending on however they want to do it. Let's be nice and go on the low end and say 5 guys. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question for the jury. On what planet, I'm being serious, and if Pride's out of pocket, let me know. On what planet is Vincent from the Miami Heat a starter? In what planet should Matisse Thybulle be one of your best players?
Yeah.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you're just gonna get more
Yeah.
guys and guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna do the same thing the other teams are doing. They're gonna lose, and then all you're gonna do is exasperate the problem that's already here. It's ridiculous.
Who are you?
And, so they were talking about, I believe it was John Suggs that was talking about Nashville, Louisville, or even Virginia Beach. I like the Nashville thing. I think Nashville probably could support having a basketball team there. I don't really necessarily like Louisville or Virginia Beach. I just don't think they had the population really to support that type of team. So I don't think it's going to work out too well for them. I think it's more of a college town than anything else. But Nashville, for sure, absolutely. I think Tennessee would love to have a basketball team. But again, Seattle obviously has a population too. So I'm good with either one, honestly. I do think that them expanding to 32 now, is a good point or a good move.
I think, what was the last new team we got? Was it
Charlotte?
I think
Was
Charlotte was
Charlotte
number 2.
No, it wasn't.
No.
Charlotte was already there. The only thing
Was it New
Charlotte did
Orleans?
was change their name because they went from the
That's
Bobcat.
true.
That's right. They went from the Bobcat to the Hornets.
It might have been New Orleans.
Yeah, which one was it?
Because
I think it was New Orleans.
Yeah,
because New
'cause
Orleans came around the same time that they wanted to change their name from the Hornets to the Bobcats. So I think
Right,
they might be,
right.
So
So
I
the
think
New
they
Orleans,
might
the
be
New,
the youngest
yeah,
team.
the New Orleans Hornets, right? They were
And then
around
it
from
became the Pelicans
02,
after the Hornets.
right? So I guess it was them. But I mean, that's still been 20 years. So I think obviously I can see, obviously everyone's been saying for eons now since they left, put a team back in Seattle, make them the Supersonics. Okay, also thank you, John Suggs. It was the Pelicans in 02. No, OKC was 08. And that was just them getting rid of the Sonics. Yeah, okay. That's what I
Yeah,
figured.
exactly.
Birmingham, nah. San Diego, potentially. Oakland, I mean, just
I like San Diego probably more than Oakland.
I like San Diego better than Oakland.
Yeah, I like San Diego
But
better.
with Seattle, obviously you have that like great fan base, and with Vegas, I mean, there's been an influx of new teams in just different sports. You got the Raiders, the Golden Knights, LAFC, the soccer squad, and the MLS. I mean, there's been a lot of new sports teams in just the last 5 years in Vegas. I mean, obviously they're marketable. They make a ton of money. They make a killing. And that's why they want to go to Vegas. I mean, you legalize gambling. You got a lot of tourists who just like, oh, look who's in town this week. So, I mean, I'm cool with both of them, but I'm with Pride. I think that something has to give in a way. That obviously those teams are going to suck for years. So, I mean, look at what like Memphis did whenever they first were a team. They sucked for a minute. They didn't have anyone good on their team.
Bro,
And
you remember the Clippers? You remember the Clippers?
Clippers weren't good till the 2010s.
Clippers were horrible forever.
The Clippers weren't a good team till 2009. Come on.
Yeah, they were just bottom rung feeders for the longest.
And I mean, it's really hard with the expansion team, and really for every sport, but especially for basketball, because you have to pick the like mid to bottom tier guys. You don't get the superstars off a rip. And it's hard to build a team like that. It really is. And like,
yeah, because the best option you have is to try to build to the draft, and then hopefully maybe you can get a free agent to sign or something.
Right, but who would want to go there with a bunch of nobodies, So that's the tough part. But I'm cool with them expanding. I always like to see new teams. So I don't have an issue with it.
Well, like take New Orleans Pelicans. It took them a hot minute before they even got into the playoffs.
It took them until they got Anthony Davis pretty much to become a really good. Chris Paul. Sorry.
Right, and the Bobcats still haven't gotten
Anthony Davis. Oh, we don't talk about the Bobcats. What do you? They had Kimba, and that was it. Kimba and Michael Kidd.
I never did like that name for a team. I thought that was a horrible name for a team.
They had the worst shooting motion with Kid Gilchrist. And they had like some of the worst jerseys too, Jay. They had like the racing stripe on those.
God, it was terrible. It's been terrible.
Michael Jordan already was off on a wrong foot with that.
All right, folks, we are at the last topic, but it's a topic that I think is kind of interesting to me. Is the NIL and the transfer portal turning college football into professional sports? Right now there's a little over 2,000 people right now in the portal, and the way the portal is set up, it makes these kids transferring very easy because there's no penalty for the first time you transfer. So you go in the portal, you transfer wherever school, you don't get penalized, everything's good. So it's very, very, it makes it very easy, almost tempting to go into the transfer portal, because then it's almost like free agency where another college can snag you, get you into the portal. It's like, so no roster is really truly safe. Even though you may have the number one signing class or recruiting class, you still got to contend with the transfer portal to losing players that you've already drafted. And I think that really transfers or really changes a lot of roster makeups year to year. And the thing about that is that's almost like free agency because these schools are using the NIL incentives to lure them away, to these schools. Even though the schools will say, well, we're not using, NIL money. The school's not paying for it, a boost or whatever. But the schools are really doing it in different ways. You know what I'm saying? It's being manipulated to where the schools are paying these students via NIL money and all the different loopholes that are currently in the NIL. What do you guys think? Is it becoming like professional football where the transfer portal is like free agency and the NIL is like their salaries?
It's interesting, Jay, because, let's not forget that for Major League Baseball, free agency was not around until the 90s. People think it's been around forever.
Right.
But, not new. It's not ancient. I mean, it's barely 30 years old.
Right.
And for college, the NILs, the transfer portals, that's only been around. The NIL's only been around for a season. And the transfer portal, it hasn't been around for too long, I know. But now, so more than ever, we are seeing guys leaving. We are seeing them. We're seeing starters, Jay. We're seeing starting quarterbacks leave their team to go to another one.
Right.
We're seeing not obviously star players, but we're seeing like B-level players go and leave because they could get more money somewhere. I sent you an article earlier today. It said Ohio State believes it needs $13 million in NIL money to keep its roster because it said that you need about
that was crazy to me.
You need about $2 million for a quarterback, and you need about $1 million per offensive lineman, and then you can fill out the rest. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. That blew my mind when I heard that.
And to fill a whole 85-man roster for college, I mean, you can equate that to those guys are getting $100,000, give or take. So I don't know if it's I need to see another season, right? Because I mean, this is still fresh, but It's not in the best in terms of the look of the game because it's like free agency with basketball. Hell, Jay, we hear about free agency in basketball before the season, while the season's going on, before the season, after the season. That's all anyone talks about now. I mean, granted, it's fun, right? It's great. It makes for us to have a great show, but it kind of takes away from everything. And now, instead of looking, Jay, at the smaller schools in college football where no one's going to want to go anymore, the HBCUs, right? Obviously, you got Jackson State, but what about all the other ones? What about all of the lower tier SEC schools like the South Carolinas, the Tennessees, teams who were looking to build up, but they can't because they don't have the money that Alabama, that Georgia has, or the recruiting. So I believe it is kind of turning it into professional sports, and in a lot of ways, and I get that it prepares the players for life at the next level, at the highest level. But there was always that kind of that gleam, that shine on college football, right? Where you would go, you would recruit a player, they'd play with you for 3 or 4 years, and then they would go into the NFL. But now you're getting guys, you're recruiting obviously these high-profile players out of high school. You're able to pay them money now legally, and that you're not guaranteed they're going to stay with your program, Jay. We haven't seen it yet.
That's right,
because it's brand new. But this could be something in the next year or two that we see that a top 5, top 10 prospect, right, might get paid a lot of money at, say, Ohio State.
Right.
But look, an offer here from Auburn, from Georgia, from Florida, whoever. And they're offering me a better role with more playing time and more money. Of course I'm going to take it.
Snagging that.
So we'll see because it's super interesting just one season into it. But it's looking like this is not the luxury that the NCAA board had in mind.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Pride, what do you think about the NIL and transfer portal? Is it ruining the game of football at the college level and becoming more professional instead of college based or more pure, purity of the sport? I mean, what do you think?
I love how we're talking about pure. I love it. When we got the same teams that Alabama, Georgia, Florida, these bozos been playing kids to go there the whole time.
Right.
So I think, in my opinion, hearing the word purity around like this is by far the funniest thing on God's greenery. This is the most unpure sport ever. Like college. I forgot my train of thought. It's unpure. This is by far the most unpure game. So I mean,
it's starting to like college football is going up there with like soccer in terms of like corruption and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's like all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Right. And by the way, for the transfer portal, in terms of the first year, you don't get a penalty. I understand that to an extent. And here's why I say to an extent. The reason why I say to an extent is because, yeah, technically speaking, that first transfer, you don't gotta say it doesn't impact you. But do you want to know what? That's a risk. Because imagine if you leave, and let's say it's like a Spencer Rattler situation, right? Spencer Rattler leaves,
Brother
and
got
you know,
played.
I mean, he transfers. Now imagine if the same thing happens again. How dumb does he look? Ridiculously dumb. Imagine something happened with Bryce Young, right? Let's say Bryce Young just,
falls off a cliff.
all of a sudden was like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to play for Ohio State. Goes to Ohio State, and let's say he still plays, and let's say he's horrible. Let's say he's dog water. That's the risk you take.
Yeah.
It's a gamble. So I'm not really, in my opinion, I'm not really mad about it. I'm not, because when it comes to the transfer aspect, you're risking something. You're risking you're going to a different team.
You're risking money, you're risking playing time, you're risking your life.
Exactly. You're risking it. So it's like, if you're willing to take that chance, pop off. Now, in terms of the entire NIL, here's my whole take on it. Frankly, now this gives other schools an opportunity. So now you don't have. We had this conversation before. Big schools like Alabama and Georgia have starters on their bench, getting no burn whatsoever. I'm gonna say that one more time. There are starting caliber players.
There's 5-star players on their bench.
On their bench.
Yeah.
On their bench. And I'm gonna put it to this way: any other sport does this, whether it be amateurs, whether it be college, whether it be professional, doesn't matter. Any other sport does this, we're killing them. Why hogging all the talent? We need to spread the talent around. Now all of a sudden we're talking about purity. We're talking about purity. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about purity. In a game where you had, I'm going on the whole little game called purity. I'm about to go on with it. I'm talking about purity when they were trying to hype up Urban Meyer as the next great hope. You let me know how that turned out. We're talking about purity. We're trying to talk about purity. And we got Nick Saban, who is known to buy kids. All of a sudden try to be like, I never did that before in my entire life. We're talking about purity.
Right.
Purity in a game that's been literally using kids for entertainment and making billions of dollars. We're talking about purity. Not fairness, purity. Miss me with that foolishness. I don't care. Matter of fact, just for that, I hope Nick Saban loses his entire roster. He got to suit up.
Oh, that would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, hey, how the tide would turn, no pun intended, right?
Exactly. That would be crazy.
Jeez, man. All right, man, folks. Listen, we are at the final thoughts segment, and we are literally like 17 minutes away from game 1. Logan, final thoughts, brother.
Yeah, man. Like I said, game 1 is going to be on in less than 20. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out hot, who comes out cold, and who gets that first strike. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm ready for Saturday's show, Jay. You want to tell them who we got coming on this upcoming Saturday?
Yeah, so Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, we will have Jim Jeffcoat, former defensive end for the Cowboys and Bills in the 90s. He'll be on the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun to pick his brain, especially, since we just had the draft and, mini camps and things like that are forming up. So it's going to be good to talk football. And I know he also does basketball, so we'll talk some basketball and things like that with him. So it's going to be a good time.
What about you, Pride? You got any final thoughts?
Boston in 7. Red Sox will be fine. The Astros are just bums. Who else can I defend? The Braves should just the Braves are a minor league team.
Oh, come on.
Who else can I defend? I'm trying to get people.
I'm waiting for the Yankees.
Horrible. Who?
Waiting for the Yankees. You haven't mentioned
cares?
them.
Yeah, we don't care about.
Yeah.
Them. We don't speak about
I thought we were in
them.
a sabbatical.
Again,
What happened?
I'm gonna tell you this.
You're gonna break for that one.
The sabbatical ended. Look, man, I'm gonna put it together this way, man. The Yankees are the only team who will find a way to win the division and still lose a wild card game. Imagine, let that sink in. Let that sink in. They will be the first team to do that. You got the
That'd be
Astros who are
crazy.
just Imagine being the Astros still cheating and losing. Imagine. Boston, we vibing. Patriots, we're better than every single one of your teams. I don't care. Who else can I defend? I'm gonna get somebody to
I'm waiting for you to go on just like a wrestling promo. Just start naming off names.
Oh, by the way, MJF, stop being a bitch. On some real. Stop being like that. Stop being a crybaby, bro. You signed the contract when you first signed it. You thought it was adorable. You thought it was cute. Now all of a sudden, I don't want to be here.
Pride's getting worked,
bro. I don't care if I'm getting work, bro. I'm on Team Tony, bro. I'm on Team Tony. Yo, like you saw the actor thing when they're trying to ask about. He goes, "Oh, I'm not talking about MJF." Come on, bro. Stop being scared, bro. He's not gonna beat you up. I got you, bro.
I've not seen Tony Khan blink in 3 years. I'm just saying.
Bro, my God, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, bro. I swear to God.
He does something.
Man. Now, there's an invisible man that just squirts like eye drops into his eyes, bro. Just saying, look, man, I'm just gonna put it to this way: MJF, you're being a little crybaby bitch. Matter of fact, you know what it is? It's probably CTE. You saw how many times Wardlow gave him the powerbomb? Shoot, I'd be out of my mind too. Shoot, my guy was there hanging with Sean Spears. He's hanging with Sean Spears, the chairman. He probably took a couple chairs to the head. My guy out here just stumbling.
Well, he did get hit in the head with that chair the other week. Don't forget. The steel cage.
Bro,
it all makes sense. Like, it all makes sense.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. He's like, oh yeah, I don't want to be here. Fire me. Bro, quit. What do you mean? You don't want to be here, just no show. We're getting worked, brother. It's all a work.
It is.
Who else can I get tight? Oh, by the way, Vince, you're a piece of shit. I hate you for changing LA Knight's name. I'm not calling him what his new name is.
Max Dupree.
You said Eli Drake? Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life. That's where I'm on right now, brother. Because I'm depressed, bro. Life is strange for me right now, bro. In some aspects, I'm the happiest man in the world. If we're talking about the Celtics, bro. If you talk about anything outside of that, bro, I'm sad. I cry myself.
That's like the Bruins got knocked out, so.
Bro, we don't talk about that, bro. We don't talk about that, man.
Like, at least you got football coming up. You got football.
Yeah, you're good. I got football, and imagine the Patriots finish under 500. I might just retire from sports, bro. Swear to God, I might just retire because this is insane. Who else can I get tight?
Hey, listen, Boston's 1-2 in games won. This particular postseason, and Golden State 3-0. All I hope for is that it's not a blowout. Whatever team wins, I just don't. I want this series to be competitive. I want
this to be at least 6 games because I don't want. Because Jay Blackstone, we haven't really seen that many close games. We really haven't, and it's sad. But these are
it's a lot of blowouts or one-sided wins.
But these are the top 2 teams in the league.
Hold on. No, I got a question. I got a question real quick because you said what Boston was in game 1. What's maybe it's just me.
What's Golden State's record?
No, not because he said Golden State was 3-0. What's the Houston Rockets record?
Oh, there you go. Every time I make a point, he might go that direction. Pride, don't do that. All you're doing it. Don't tarnish yourself like that. Don't do it.
Logan, he's right. I'm embarrassing myself. He's right because he is a Mavericks fan. I forgot.
Oh
no! Don't you know what?
That. Hey man, listen. Hey, right here. Pride. I bought this jersey. When Hakeem Olajuwon still played for the Rockets his rookie season. So I don't want to hear Mavericks this or that or the other. I don't want to hear it. This jersey's older than you are, Pride.
I don't know, man. That thing looks too
probably
cool.
Logan.
That looks pretty crispy, Jay.
I know. I take good care of my stuff. What do you want me to say?
You didn't take care of it, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's brand spanking new. I don't care what anybody says. That is brand spanking new. He just got it.
Jay got that as a Christmas gift. What you mean?
Dude, I see the full wrinkles. So I don't want to hear anything, bro. Get out of here with that.
Hey, Jay,
I see the full wrinkles. Shut your mouth.
Jay's just a big Hakeem Olajuwon fan. He's even got the Raptors jersey.
Oh God!
The deep cuts.
No, I do not have a Raptors jersey. Only Houston, brother.
Time out.
But all right, folks. Hey, man.
We don't
talk about that.
We don't talk about Hakeem Olajuwon with the Raptors. We do
no, because you know why?
You don't want to talk about.
You can't do that, man. Nobody's going to talk about Paul Pierce with the Nets. You talk about Paul Pierce with the Celtics.
Jay, what are you talking about? I love talking about Cardinals legend Emmitt Smith. What you mean?
No, that's another one we don't talk about because that was just to extend whatever.
Brett Favre with the Jets.
We don't do that.
Or with Minnesota. He played with Minnesota too now.
Or John Smoltz with the Cardinals. Things just ain't right.
Oh yeah, we're not. Yeah,
Things ain't
that
right.
just don't even
Things
seem
ain't
right.
right.
Talk about John Smoltz with the Cardinals. That don't even seem right.
That had bad taste in my mouth, man.
I'm pretty sure it had a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths that were Braves. I mean, he was an iconic guy for the Braves, and to see him somewhere else, I don't know, man. It just don't fit right. It don't sit right, you know. It's no different than Brady with the Buccaneers. I'm pretty sure most New England people
kind of
it feels weird to see him not in the Patriots uniform.
That's different though. That's kind of different only because he's had success.
But he won too.
So like you can kind of
Here ones didn't do nothing, but he won.
Yeah, you can kind of wash that out a little bit, only because his first year he won the Super Bowl, that whole thing. So you can kind of wash that taste out of your mouth. But yeah, no, bro, that is no, bro. We do not speak of. Oh my God, bro, that's embarrassing. No, I'm good, dude. Oh God, have mercy on my soul, bro. Talk about Robert Parrish with the Hornets. What are we?
Nah, bro,
doing,
we talking about Ichiro with the Yankees and Mariners. What the hell was
that?
Dude, bro, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. When Derek Jeter bought, he went to the Marlins as like part of like
when he bought it, as an owner.
I was like, okay, look.
I thought they were going to do something. They didn't do nothing.
Dude, I threw up.
Well, you know what? You know what the honest one was when Michael Jordan tried to help out the Wizards when they were tanking or they were struggling, and seeing him in a Wizards jersey was just weird.
What a bum. Bum years, bro. I don't care what anybody says.
Hey, bro, all I know, this is my last thing. Shout out to Celtics legend Shaquille O'Neal. That's how we end the show.
I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. It's kush. Love me too much and your brain turn to mush. Fall flat on your tush. You couldn't handle the product I push. I guess I'm just used to it. I just do it like Nike swoosh. None of that Reggie Bush cause I'm top shelf. I ain't got wealth, but I'm on my grind like park rails. I'd sell the shoes right off my 2 feet, then add one, that's a yard sale. Got dumb bars that be smarter than Harvard, Yale. Take your pictures elsewhere. You wanna be TMZ, I wanna be VIP. Quit pandering, I'm not answering cause I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. I don't wanna hear any more small talk. Off that short pier, take a long walk. My style ain't free cause it ain't off top. I'm at your throat, go get a cough drop. All of that bark and no bite, that's alright. Not everyone can be the big dog. Take a walk, kick rocks. Can't keep me out cause I pick locks. They hearing me knocking, I'll never be stopping. I keep